What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? This is DC, one half of Just a Dope Ass Podcast. Welcome on this lovely, wonderful Saturday afternoon. It's nice and toasty outside. I was going to say 4th of July weekend, but, you know, it's the 4th for the rest of y'all. It's just another lovely weekend for the rest of us. But welcome. Don't have the visuals at the moment. We are currently trying to set that up for y'all. TJ is on location in the home of the turkey legs out there in Tejas. We'll be getting him on in just a minute. Other than that, you're here with just me. Just me. He should be calling in something sooner or later. But hopefully you guys have had a wonderful day this far. If you're not, hopefully we can bring you a little bit of a better time right now. Let's see. Oh, incoming call. Oh.
There we go.
And there you have it, folks. There you have it, folks. He has arrived, sort of, kind of.
I think we're figuring something out.
We're figuring something out. We're getting something together. Now I got to figure out which one of these is going to control the sound to this call in that you're doing.
I think the one, if they can hear me.
They can hear you. You're not completely, like, you ain't super loud, but we can hear you. I'll make sure that we can at least hear you.
I don't know I forget which fucking knob that is.
It's a little different when you're not sitting in front of it, huh?
Dead ass. I don't know how Keith talks us through it. Like, he's a genius.
I mean, when he sets it up, he obviously knows how to put things where they need to be. You know, we just come in here and fiddle around with it a couple times a week, so it's a little different.
Yeah, you look real cool when you're in front of the bitch, but like, you nice. Wow.
You real cool when you in person, nigga. You real cool when you in person.
Real fancy.
Right.
As far as the live goes, I mean, I'm on. I don't know if it I think.
I'd have to go back and see.
Man, when y'all look up to us, just know that you can do it too, because we figure this shit out every week.
If anybody can do it, you definitely can do it. I mean, I can see you. I don't know why it ain't requesting to join. There it is. There we go. Now we getting somewhere. Oh. Hit him with the dance. There it is. Come on. Load it up. Boom. There it is. Oh, I got to turn down the volume on this because I don't want no feedback. That's what the recording's for. We don't need all them extras. Now, goddammit. Now I just got to raise it up because I don't need you staring at my titty meats the entire time.
Say, man, it's all nipples.
It's all titty nipples. Like, I want you to see me a little bit, goddamn.
Here we go. It was mad titty breasts, man.
Yeah, I ain't want to do that to you, man. I ain't want to have you out there like that. I know it's gonna look a little different in comparison to how it normally looks, but
I mean, y'all will enjoy it. My background looks so quaint. Like, got a nice. This is a picture of a chair. Whatever. It don't matter. I'm clearly in the fucking the guest room that you mildly decorate to pretend to care.
Yeah, we gonna use this for money making purposes anyway. We don't really give a damn what it look like.
I ain't no gas, but how could do this?
Right.
Good job, California shit, but down here in the Texas, I said it before, and I'm Houston is doing some shit. All right, I'm just saying, I dig the vibe down here. So, yeah.
What do you dig the most about the vibe out there?
I think one, me personally, having my people from down here, from Louisiana specifically, but I've always visited down here, so it's always felt like home. It's always felt like home too. And then you get like a good amount of, people to look like you, but without like because I'll admit it, I think it's maybe like higher than us might be New Yorkers who just not friendly people. And here it's like, it's cool to just be like, hi. And it's like, oh. And then like, I've had like mad conversations just, and for no reason in passing with like random motherfuckers. Ain't no name exchange, but it just felt like, you was talking to your cousin, some shit. The niggas going about their business, you going about yours. And I think about that as far as like, where you want to like live life for a minute. And if I'm going to, pop out some other human, it's like you want other humans that are in an environment that feels like how, you fuck around and envy what your parents talked about. Like our parents can be like, you should be able to go down to Miss Jenkins' house. And I'm like, I don't really have that. I got like, spooking them, but like, I don't necessarily want my kids to run down there to see them. I want them to understand that they exist and treat them like humans, but it feels like there might be, if there's a Miss Jenkins somewhere, she might be down here, right. And that'd be cool to be around.
It might be a little bit different for us, because like any of your family, your kin or whatever that you do got to see in LA, it's not like a go down the street situation unless you still actively staying in like the hood, Compton, Inglewood, South Central, something. If you stay out, like, you not near those areas. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to go visit my family. It's going to be an hour drive, though.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like, and maybe I don't know the lay of the land like that, but you just kind of like that, like, at home is like areas where you do the family building, so to speak, but right. That goes back to the communities, but that's another conversation. But it is like you have to have a commute to go see your folks. I'm not opposed to the commute, but if I could not have to do it so much, like today we were just like driving around in the city and went to like 3 or 4 we were just looking for somewhere to eat, and it was like in like a little boom, boom, boom. It was like 4 or 5 little brunch spots that was just all us. And I was like, I like seeing us. I like seeing us in different areas. Like, this is cool.
Yeah, that's nice. It's definitely nice. You'd be able to get a change of scenery. Get a little bit of extra blackness in your system, a different kind of blackness, all different sounds of blackness.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing, too, for, like, the more chill variety of folks. As I like to have my, like, you get get some little city in it, but I can just, like, all right, I can chill. It's like a good mix, I feel, down here. Like, it's enough chill, and you get just enough for the hustle and bustle, because I am from where I'm from. I need that a little bit, but not a lot. I don't even oversaturate it. It's got enough.
I'm about to say, because it's the country vibe is a little bit different, but the country trying to turn into the city, so it depends on what part you in. Because now the Cali attitude is just like a plague. It has spread all amongst the country. And everybody is just adopting that mindset. So it ain't going to be too long that the country is going to stay slow and behind. At some point, they're going to catch up.
They be taking the worst of it. So I'll never take, like, nobody ever goes and grabs, like, Dom Kennedy energy. Like, y'all all go grab, L.A. douchebag and shit. That's unnecessary.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think people try to take the worst of, like, L.A. personalities and incorporate it into where they at?
I think that goes into, like, a lot of things that people do just in general. Like, we misinterpret what things mean. Like, you might take being shrewd or mean for what it means to be powerful. Because when they talk about like the music industry or the movie business, like, being a dickhead is looked at as being powerful, and it's like, not necessarily. And I think that image is just blasted because you might have super nice. There might be a whole industry full of super nice people, but the people in, like, I guess positions of power, or that just are able to kind of push the narrative. If I'm in a position of power, like, us, we have a platform. Clearly, this platform is, based on our views. We want to promote mental health. We want to promote positive attitudes. We want to promote fucking challenging your perspectives and beliefs. But if I'm a dickhead, I like being a dickhead, and I'm in a position to blast shit on the online, I'm going to promote being a dickhead. That way I can stay me, nigga. I don't want to challenge my shit. So I feel like that's the narrative that's been pushed, and it just, people don't, you see what is like their perception, but people just might not know a thing. Like,
right.
You come down south and think everybody just a bumpkin. Like, I was talking to my dad about that. I was like, no, man, this is a city. This is a metropolitan area. Like, people have lives. It's not just some one-horse buggy. But if you've lived your life watching Texas on TV, you think Django happened yesterday. So
Now there are some parts of Texas that are exactly the same as it was back then. Some neighborhoods, some mindsets, some white folk still acting like it is what it is back during them times. Because they gonna definitely treat you like a Django. Goddamn, they gonna try at least. There's some areas of Texas.
Yeah.
Texas has been in the news and not a lot the last few weeks for having some tomfoolery going on in the racial division, but it is what it is in that regard. Now, on a less serious note, what's the real reason you like Texas so much?
I mean, that's still serious, man. Like, you know, they still go to people. They down here, man. You know, like, you know, I'm saved and sanctified, but like, I feel like, you know, I could tie this in pleasantly. Yeah, you know what? If I was, like I said back in the beginning, if I was to shoot out a couple, I really feel like I could probably skip over some of the goofy conversations where it's like, you know, I know I'm gonna get me somebody to look like, you know, across, you know, that line your mom always says, like, don't bring me nobody looking goofy across the Thanksgiving table. And I'm like, I probably don't have to do that. Like, you know, I'm gonna I can get another hair, but it'll be another hair that I can like, all right, I can see it. Good job, son. Good job, daughter. I go into the gym today, and it was just like, and I'm like, I feel like I'm getting a little old because part of it was like, why they out here? But then I just immediately got surpassed by, I just like seeing us. So I would say that them things was like my main thing early on, but I stand on the other shit too, which is actually as we sit here and like talk about this, I was like, oh, nigga, like I'm an adult.
I took a real mature approach to this.
I'd have gave you 3 years ago, I'd have been like, hey, nigga, I'm in some booty, say thick there, and say do something.
The green beans and the yam, goddammit, extra syrup.
Yeah, they still thick down here. But, yeah, the other stuff is like, actually, I guess what is most important. And, yeah, and shit, also, man, fucking, you know, I'm a millennial, man. I'm trying to move some shit. And, like, Cali's not the place necessarily to always move some shit. If I had some shit already, and I could move some shit. But I feel like, you know, I got to touch somewhere around in these other spots to get me some, you know, I want to be like, hey, I want a fucking generation FXZer to look at me like, fuck you, millennial boomer. And I'm like, whatever, nigga. I got 3 houses, like, that I don't live in. They just make money for me.
Right. I mean, you down there in the state of the blueprint, because within our community, as far as hip-hop and rap is concerned, nobody has been doing more for their communities than Texas. Especially them Houston boys has been doing a lot for their people in the last handful of years.
Yeah, I want some of that to rub off on me. Shit, you see them niggas, they just like, you know, where is album sales going? Nigga, into these fucking 17 developments he has. Like, fuck an album sale, nigga. Like,
right. We don't know how many albums Trader Truth is selling, but he keeps buying stuff and keeps opening up businesses for the people, and I'm not mad at that. Shout out to him recently opening up his ice cream shop to hire people with special needs. So he doing his thing.
Like if your only examples is Trey, Slim Thug, and like Paul Wall, that would be enough for me.
That's
like
enough.
I didn't even touch like Bun. Like if those 3 to 4 were your only examples, it's enough for me.
That's enough. Out of one city, that's enough. Because we here still holding on to Nipsey and what he was doing, and he was just one man. Like we don't have nobody else that's trying to do nothing. Like all these people here, they're supposed to be business owners, and nobody's out here doing the same thing. Now, granted, it does cost a whole lot more than it does out there in Texas, but still, like it's a privilege for them to have damn near a handful of people that are doing a multitude of things for one small community. And here we had one person that was doing a lot for the entire region.
Yeah, I like that like, you know, like you're saying, like Nip seems like, you know, his shit is he's such a huge icon, because compared to just other people in the rap game, period, he seems like a fucking rarity. But you come here and you be like, damn, like every nigga's like that. I got a portion that you might say who's your favorite or who's doing the most, but everybody's got their own little shtick, and it's not just shit like, I gave $30,000 to a fucking charity. It's like, no, man, that nigga owns that part. This dude owns that part and employs this many people from our community. That person is like, it's real tangible, hardcore. Like, oh, you're helping. I can see where your shit is touching people. It's not just I gave it to a charity. Not knocking charity work, but I feel like our community is in such a bind that we need. No, nigga, you need to touch him. Like I need to feel it. I need to see it.
Building fund. Everybody got a building fund. Like, what are you doing with the building fund, though? Where is it going? People need to be able to see a doorknob on the building. They got to be able to see something to make things a whole lot better than what it is. Now, as we shift a little bit, like there's a lot of positive black talk. I will ask, we've had a lot of black celebrities coming under some scrutiny in the last couple weeks. When it comes to Sha'Carri, when it comes to Bill, when it comes to Felicia Rashad, what are your feelings on all these black folk that are getting mixed reviews on some of their perspectives?
I had a couple fucking reviews on a couple things, but to stick to the Bill thing, I guess I would stick to more of, I'm not taking the Felicia Rashad, like, oh my God, save Bill, and it was an amazing travesty. I think I understand her connection to him. She knows Bill more intimately than like any of us, so it's a whole different vibe. The way Judge Joe Brown broke it down, and I think you just, as much as they're probably cancelable and say wild shit, you need an old nigga here and there just to be like, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, I don't give a fuck here when it's too much, and I probably shouldn't have said that, but I don't give a fuck here, or I'm gonna say some shit that matters. Like his perspective is like, just from a law perspective, this is not like a championing Bill Cosby, but him saying like him speaking to certain aspects of a motherfucker just being guilty because you assumed it, a motherfucker just being guilty because everybody feelings are hurt and they don't like it. I'm like, I like that. I like that piece. I like that being something we, consistently think about, because say Bill is still doing some wild shit, because 70 motherfuckers, I'm going to believe at least 2 or 3, and 2 or 3 is enough. 1 is enough. So in that regard, I can't fully just absolve Bill, but this idea that there are never people to go out and like go get a black man or a powerful black man and tear him down. Like that story of dude who was like spent years locked up because some girl just said he was like raped her, and he like missed out on his chance to the NFL.
Dude that played ball for Long Beach Poly in high school. Yeah,
those stories exist. So I like the fact that a Judge Joe Brown speaks on that, because we do miss that. I know that, I know for a long time I tried to like not stand in this space on this platform is like, we're just pro men. But I do think men need spaces. It's not to be right. It's like, goddamn, nigga, there's the other side to this coin.
Right.
If the nigga wrong, let the nigga be wrong. But I'm not doing this blanket condemnation. Bill could go up the creek for all I care. Like, I'm not really trying to be like, I didn't like sing the high praises of Bill Cosby was free. But the conversations that it's bringing, I'm okay with.
Right. I appreciate Bill's contribution, because for a good point in time, now granted it is before our generation, but for like our parents' generation, Bill was doing a lot to represent the black community in a positive way, representing HBCUs in a positive way, education and collective whole healthy families in a positive way. Like, he was the representation, the only representation that we had of a healthy family, healthy black family, educated black family being portrayed on television for a good minute, and him speaking out against, anti-black matters and speaking of being pro-black and things of that nature. So Bill definitely, I won't say I don't sing his high praises, but he gets love from me for sure in that regard. Now, one thing I did appreciate about Judge Joe Brown was laying it on the line, like, not even just like you got to hold people accountable for certain shit, but not even the aspect of law where it's like he ain't really been convicted of nothing. So since he's innocent, y'all got to get out y'all feelings and say what really is. And since this hasn't been proven, you can't say that this was what it really is. But I do appreciate him also bringing light to the lifestyle at the time. Like, during this period of time, it was nothing like what it is today. Things were going on in the clubs. Everybody was snorting lines and doing pills and Quaaludes and all this other stuff. Like, that was just the culture at the time. And then for somebody to pop up a long time after the fact and be like, he did this, we can't judge that from the same lens of something that's in a different time zone. And I think it's kind of contradictory of us because, especially for our generation, we came up during whether using West Coast with the Thiz pills, or you was popping pills, in Texas and drinking syrup and things of that nature. We've been a large contributing factor to the narrative of utilizing drugs and sex synonymously. Somebody that has some sort of money and status within the community, providing the vibes, essentially, because we try to use words and lingo like that to smooth it over. Like, no, you providing the vibes. That's what it is. I got the weed, I got the drink. It's the same concept. So if you're participating in this lifestyle, in this culture, you have to understand, like, not to say that there's consequences that come with it or that you should expect certain things like that, but I think Bill admitted to that. He's like, yeah, I provided the vibes, but I didn't do all the other stuff that they're talking about. None of us were there, so we can't say yeah or nay. There was no evidence to prove that what he was saying wasn't the truth, but I can at least appreciate, like, oh, you took accountability. Yeah, I was providing the vibes. I was giving the pills out. It wasn't me sneaking them on him. It was a willing thing. I was probably outside of my mind out here running through these things, but I should have had a little bit more discretion. Had a little bit more discretion. I'm pro-black on TV, but I'm gonna knock these white women down and get these pills, and I'm gonna throw it out. Like, that's probably not in his best judgment at all. He probably shouldn't have been doing those things, but I at least appreciate that that's what I admit to. I admit to doing these things, and I should have done better. But the other stuff are just accusations, right? Like, that's part of the lifestyle. How do you pop up? How do you participate in a lifestyle and then come back later on and say that this happened? Like, nah, it didn't happen the way that you recall it. One, and two, it's mighty convenient when you trying to bring this up within that case. Like, I know a lot of people trying to compare the jokes or the memes of R. Kelly and Bill, like, oh, R. Kelly in jail, mad that Bill getting free. Like, that's not the same. We know Robert has documented himself being guilty as shit. That man had videotapes, all of, like, there's love your music to death, brother, but you set yourself up on that one. Literally, you set the camera up yourself. There's no disputing that. With Bill, it's a little bit more hearsay.
How do we, because as you're bringing this up, you're speaking of, putting things in context, and right. I can already hear, like, rhetoric, like, just in general, and you see it online. Like, how do you balance between what you're doing and, like, speaking to the context of an issue, and then going against, like, this culture of when somebody tries to add context, they're like defending, there's no fucking defense, there's no excuse. And it's like, it's not excuses in every
right.
situation. It's just judging a thing for what a thing is. Because like I said, like, nobody's up here like, we love Bill. But, even him and R. Kelly, like, putting context to it, like, I'm not saying burn a motherfucker at the stake, but burn them at the right stake, I
right.
guess.
Kind of like when we talk about relationships and things of that nature, that context is important. Because even for Robert, like, although I'm not shooting him bail for him messing with underage women, although we can't completely crucify him, because we had Keith Sweat up here singing "You Young But You're Ready." Like, if we gonna look at everybody, we need to look at everybody, and let's be honest about it. Yeah. Especially, but
you have to throw away. If you want to look at, like, music for, like, what right. it's saying and what it means, you'd have to throw away shit half of our favorites. Right. Shit, my favorites for damn sure.
But if you think about it, like, our parents' generation on back, that behavior was condonable. You 16, you was old enough to start a family with. Like, it was okay for somebody that was in their mid-20s to find them a 17-year-old girl fresh out of high school or about to graduate from high school and start a family. Like, it may not be acceptable today, but back then it was acceptable. So them singing about it, it's like,
I don't know. Not to cut you off, I don't know, because, like, to say that it's not acceptable now, but when we talk about relationships, we still try to pick and choose these standards, not understanding that, like,
yeah,
this whole pot is really burnt. Like, the entire batch is burnt.
Yeah, the grits is black.
Like, every time you see a relationship post, regardless of the platform, mad toxic or, pseudo, whatever, trying to have the conversation. I'm like, all of these narratives and thought processes come from this same batch. It's all burnt and all fucking weird.
Right.
But niggas try to pick and choose, like, nah, because that honestly is tied into this over here. Different levels and different, spectrum of it. But,
I mean, that's because we have these unhealthy expectations of other people and situations. And that kind of goes back to what I was going to say about Robert. If you know the context of him, him being molested as a kid, him being taken advantage of by somebody older to him. So, his first introduction to love and sex was in that capacity. So from a mental health standpoint, you're thinking that that's okay. And you don't have anybody to help you process that and show you that it was wrong, not just for it happening to you, but also you doing it to somebody else. You're normalizing it. We don't pay attention to that context. We just jump straight into the now and the behavior and how we're going to judge things within our emotions and say, oh, that's wrong. It's like, nah, get a little bit of the context so that you can have some empathy with this person, not to completely dismiss their behaviors, but have an understanding of what they're doing. Because this, especially in entertainment, Lil Wayne, Chris Brown, Robert, like there's mad dudes that can tell you a story of how they were molested by some older woman. Kevin Gates, he done shared some shit as well. Like there's people that we look at from a celebrity standpoint that are showing you that I've had these unhealthy behaviors thrust onto me, and nobody ever processed it with me or gave me the opportunity to process it in a healthy way or held space for me to talk about it. And now I've been dealing with this mindset and this behavior for 30-something years, and now you're crucifying me for it. Like, at what point in time did somebody step back and help me?
I be wondering about that because, like, the Kevin Gates shit to me this week, it's funny that I've, like, joked and had small conversations about how you and me, like, run the platform and how, like, you're the one who's usually most good with, like, the words and the typing. I saw the Kevin Gates shit, and that shit had me boiling because, you know, I've never, you know, given honor to God. Like, I've never experienced that personally. But in, you know, over the years of working, like, I've worked with these kids, and hopefully between, you know, you, me, and people I've known over the course of, you know, my career is, like, I was able to be a moment where it's like you didn't go 15 years without somebody going, that was wrong,
right,
that was not your fault,
right,
what you're doing is, and maybe was able to kind of catch you before you had to go and be Kevin Gates and live through like 30 years of life and had to get to the, like, you know, and it's good that he's like changed. Everybody's talking about, I don't give a fuck how many feathers the nigga put in his head. Like, niggas talked about the feathers, niggas talked about the bun, niggas made fun flat out of the fact that he experienced that. And I'm like, this nigga just said he got molested. And, like, we can now trace any song he's had, all the anger, all the aggression, all the times in jail, whatever. And motherfuckers will sit there and make fun and say all these things or say nothing and turn around and make one post about the energy and the vibes. And I'm like, you phony fucks. Like, right. I be trying my best to be like, all right, man, practice what you preach, get zen. But that shit is let me know, like, I'm like, I really got to still work because I was hot. Because I was like, damn, nigga. It was just archives of men and women and whatever. And it's like, I love my people. I love my kings and queens. But you would down this man for having an experience that you don't know. Shit, it's thousands or tens of thousands probably of, like, young boys that are out here fucking mad, shooting them motherfuckers because they've had a terrible experience from men or women. And ain't nobody sitting here like going, nah, man, help him. Understand the holding space means I might not know what the fuck to do. A lot of my shit is you are mad, but you just need to know that I'm here. And, nigga, I'm going to ride it with you. I'm going to sit here. I don't even know what to say to you, but we're going to sit here and you're going to tear this room up. I'm going to just make sure you don't hurt yourself. Y'all don't do that. Y'all just motherfucking crazy. I'm out.
Right.
I'm speaking to all y'all friends, relationships, whatever. You just got to cut them off. Y'all don't know discernment. You if you're going to be there, I don't know, motherfucker, be there.
That would have the expectation of having some empathy, though.
A lot of it.
And even like when we were talking about pretty much everybody, like all the celebrities we brought up, Bill included and Sha'Carri included, we have this expectation of you following a rule that you were never taught was not okay. We're judging you in the now as opposed to holding space for where you've been, where you're trying to go, who you're trying to become, and also being reasonable. Like, are we really upset about this? Should we really be upset about this? Should we really hold this much scrutiny for you after this, that, and the third? Like, expectation without representation. We have this expectation of people being able to have this type of reaction to the things we are putting them in front of and exposing them to, but we're not having any healthy representation of them being able to be in a healthy mindset.
True. I don't like, and even like that Sha'Carri thing, like, I saw, like, you know, for the most part, it's a lot of people that are just like root for her. I like that Steven Jackson was like, you know, nigga, boycott that shit.
Yeah.
And, like, I know people fought their entire existence to get to the Olympics. I know that is like the largest stage. But sometimes, like, movements like that are like, you know, there is a bit of selflessness. And I know I'm, speaking as a motherfucker who's not in the Olympics. If it was like podcast awards and we up and it's like our time to shine, but they fuck around and did some racist shit, I would have to really sit there and be like, fuck, I'm finna really have to blow the moment to stand on principle that you are fucking over somebody and they are fucking us over at every level. It's not like they just did it to her. Like they doing the fucking hair stuff for women.
Right.
They said Simone like couldn't do a fucking move because it fucked up her competitors. Fuck you guys, I'm better than you.
Right.
Like, so I don't know. Like in a lot of areas, it's like I even saw people defending like, well, she knew. I understand it's fucked up, but she knew she was an athlete, and that's the rule. Nigga, change the rule. Why are we so focused on her making a bad decision as opposed to this rule being complete trash and making no fucking sense? It does not scientifically make sense.
But who said it? Who said it's a bad decision? Would be my question, because we just had nationwide said that weed is legal, weed is okay, people can start selling it, people can start using it, and then when somebody else uses it and it's not a performance enhancing drug, why are we trying to hold so much scrutiny to you? Especially providing the context. Kind of what Stack said. We have all these different bands. Black athletes can't represent Black Lives Matter, or no social justice issues at the Olympics. Can't have these certain hair care things that'll be able to protect you as a black person when you're swimming. You can't use a substance that's not a performance enhancing drug and is not a serious drug, something that we actually consider legal. Like all these things that there's rules that they're changing, including with Simone, are targeted towards us as black people. Surprisingly enough, when the Olympics is in an Asian country, but we have Stop Asian Hate in this country that is trying to overshadow all these other things. Like, how are you targeting these things towards us specifically and labeling them as bad decisions? They're not bad decisions. They're not me doing anything wrong. You're just doing this to try to move the goalpost in your favor, which is not fair. Now, to kind of sidetrack that thought, speaking of Texas Hammers, ma'am,
sir,
you want to introduce yourself? You can't see her because you're looking at me, but we have the other Carter is here. Introduce yourself. Tell people who you are, where you come from, what you represent, what you're doing.
I've been running my mouth and shit.
No, it's cool. She was sitting here quietly, just
I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
She was late, so she can't just come in. She could come in and interrupt. I mean, this is her first time here, so she don't really know that you can come in here and just be a nigga completely. So she tried to be all. Just gonna sit here and be quiet and.
That's just me. Thank you, Good News, for having me. My name is Kenesha Carter. Definitely support our sisters, our brothers, making great decisions for us, and I'm definitely looking forward to add my 2 cents to this topic.
Oh, you can throw it in whenever you want. You can tell people about your podcast and where you living and all that other stuff, because you are not.
Put 50 on there.
Yeah.
I'm from Compton, California, but I currently reside in Houston, Texas. I have my own Pillow Talk, my podcast called Pillow Talk, where real and intimate conversations take place. So this is, for me, a intimate conversation because, of course, I am a black woman, and this is, a topic that I hold dear to my own heart, so I'm excited.
Right. Well, when you share your perspective, you ain't got to wait to dive in. This is whatever you feel like saying, go ahead and share it.
Right. I definitely think that we continue to ask for permission when we can create our own lane. Why continue to try to be accepted, obviously, somewhere where they're constantly trying to stack the odds up against us? So create our own Olympics. How about that?
How would you create your own Olympics?
It will be a decision for all of us to come together in agreement to create their own network. Why continue to participate in the Olympics again? They want to compete against us. We bring in that fire. So guess what's going to happen? If they create their own lane, they will then be begging us to come compete. Because, of course, they have, good people, but they're going to want to compete against the best.
You ain't got to be PC about it. Y'all other countries that are non-melanated suck. You suck. When it comes to track and field, black countries are...
Any I think honestly, sports,
Most of the sports in the Olympics in general are being ran by people of color, especially the extra melanated folk. When it comes to track and field events in general, brown folks, we taking the cake. I don't care what country they're from, they're taking the cake. Now, that's not to say that, there aren't other non-melanated athletes, but even say if like it's taking place in Japan, we ain't had a Japanese person in the top 4 in a lot of events in track and field in a long time. So I can see them. We're hosting this. We want to win something, but we got to try and help ourselves out, because whether we got Jamaica, whether we got America, whether we got some black person from whatever country, like we ain't got a goddamn chance. Like, how are we going to help ourselves in this situation? But what you're saying is true. Like everybody knows when it comes to Olympic events, especially track and field and basketball, you're coming to compete against us.
And they're going, and not just us watching us. Every other race is looking at us on the track, looking at us on the field. They trying to see what we're going to bring. That's the excitement. We are the factor,
right?
So
treat that shit like TikTok. Shut all this shit the fuck down.
Right. I mean, a lot of people were saying that they were going to, boycott watching the Olympics, so to speak. And some people are like, well, what about everyone else that is competing? But at some point, if you have to stand for something,
right?
I think now's our time. It's been our time, one thing, but we have to have a moment where things are going to shift.
Most definitely.
If we keep showing up to the classroom and following their rules, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be on their terms. No, hello, again, create your own.
Fuck your table. Flip all the tables and chairs and desks and all that.
Hey, man, look, knock all this motherfucking shit over, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, us staying, like she said, like, I understand the idea that, like, what about everybody else? But it's like, shit, by principle, everybody else, I don't know, you kind of the few have to suffer for the whole, I sometimes think. And I would like that not to be, but it's like, shit, it's, to me, in my mind, in this fantasy I have in my brain, suffering lasts for, like, motherfuckers think, we'd suffer for years. And it's like, you suffer for a week. Because if niggas just said no on the whole, just nah, who's going, I'm not watching shit. I'm not watching none of this shit without us. Like, even with the fucking football players for getting paid. It's like, if you really think about it, was you not going to pay them? Like, it was, who was it? Like, I even think some of Deion Sanders shit is like, look, bro, like, these niggas is going to go to HCUs. Everybody's like, look, pay them. Because we are going to lose aggressively if they just all say, fuck Florida and Alabama and USC, fuck all this shit.
But that's the thing about them making a decision to say fuck it, right? But there's always someone out there. If I'm willing to say, yeah, I'm going on strike, I'm not going to participate in what y'all have going on, there's always another motherfucker that's out there that's going to be like, no, well, pay me then. Instead, you know what I'm saying? There's always going to be somebody that's like, no, I'm trying to take care of myself and my own family. F the cause. The cause didn't do nothing for me.
Right.
Now, some people have that mindset. So how can we all be on one page, one accord?
That was going to be my question, because it's like, especially for us, a lot of it's being targeted towards American black athletes. But we have other black countries that are competing in the Olympics, and like, how do we get them to understand, like, this goes towards you too, motherfucker? Like, you can sit up here and look at them as just the black Americans are getting singled out because they're doing wrong or not following the rules. Like, no, they're trying to disparage you a little bit as well. This is for all of us. So how do you stand with us, even though you're not from our country?
That's again the great divide. We're all the same, but they're going to. There's always. They're trying to divide the black woman from the black man. They're trying to divide every other culture. Okay, if you're from the Dominican, they're like, no, they're not black.
I know black.
Dominican.
I know black.
Yeah, listen, yes, you are. That's what they want. You know what I'm saying? For us not to come together, and that it's simple as that.
I know this sounds harsh, and I know it's harsh, and I feel like also hard.
It's harsh for us. It's harsh for us. We've said worse, so I'm pretty sure whatever you're thinking is right along code with what we normally say.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how harsh it is for us, but I'm just kind of, in most respects, I'm tired of convincing. Like, this is a pretty cut and dry. This is good for us. We should do this. This is good for us. And motherfucker go, what about, all right, man, you stay over there with what about me? everybody over here who's with the us's, everybody really support the us's. Like, if you're gonna buy black, if you're gonna eat at black-owned restaurants, if you're gonna support black athletes, and if that sets the tone, then you just rock with who's next to you. Like, all these, everybody, ride with that shit y'all be posting. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Bitch, I'm vibing with them. If you don't fuck with it, I don't care. I'm not losing no sleep over it. I know this is what it's supposed to be. And the road less traveled, man. It's not supposed to be like the easiest shit. Mm-hmm. You sit up some days and want to eat your words, like, oh man, this shit sucks. But everybody else, you see from Hove to your favorite athlete, when it was hard, at the end it paid off. So I'm now kind of in the mindset of whatever we want to do, that are the ones that are on board, then get on board. I'm not going to close the door on my people, but I'm over trying to open the door, run back downstairs, tell you to pick your shit up and have you come back up. No, nigga, you come up these stairs on your own. I'm going to leave the door open for you, but I'm trying to get up to the top part of this. I'm no longer really trying to help you niggas up. Just climb up the same way I did. Like, I'm going to leave you all the breadcrumbs, but I'm not going to waste time that we could be building trying to convince you niggas that this is the right way to go.
You're a little bit nicer than me, because I'm damn near like Noah's Ark status. I want to flood all this shit and get rid of you motherfuckers. We only need one of each. Get on the boat. If you on the boat, if you not, you can drown with the rest of these motherfuckers. We'll go ahead and build this shit up how we need to build it up. But I say that to be facetious, of course. But those that don't want to get on board, we need them.
I feel that. I'm trying to have all this, trying to have some speak of that positive energy shit. But right. I honestly, I feel that in my fucking balls. Everybody, y'all so nice. No, nigga, I didn't want to throw you niggas up into the fucking sea. And I'm trying to stand on what I preach. But
because it's like, why are you going back and forth with me, and I'm only telling you the right thing, and you want to banter me with all these questions, and the proof is in the pudding. Like, what world are you living on to be oblivious to what's going on? I'm speaking the truth.
Earth.
The
planet of the United States. It's its own planet. It's just separate from logic.
But people are always going to opt to do what's easier for them. Doing what's things like that. It's hard. Just like if someone wants to eat healthy, it's hard for them to do. If they want to lose weight, they say it's hard to do. So putting some thought into doing something better to elevate not only yourself but your people. That's hard for some people.
I get that. And that kind of goes along the lines of what we were talking about before you came in, as far as holding empathy for somebody's process, not just judging them for where they are currently, and holding them to a certain expectation or a certain standard based on how you feel about what they're doing or not doing, but understanding where they've come from and then be willing to hold space for them. That's why I can't completely flood this bitch and get rid of y'all, because some of y'all are gonna need you later on. You just ain't where you supposed to be at, and I gotta be patient and wait for your goofy ass to figure out how to get up on the boat.
That's what he's saying, planting the seeds. He said, I'm gonna go up these stairs. Here's the breadcrumbs and here's the blueprint. You can come along, but I'm not gonna exhaust myself trying to pull you up and everybody else that's connected to you. If you hear me, let's go. You think Moses was stopping for every person that was breaking down on their way out? Hell no. He set the seed, and if you were willing to go, bring your ass. And that was it.
Johnny Appleseed status on planting. Plant these seeds. They're going to turn into a tree eventually. I ain't going to be around to see them, but
yeah, you might plant the seed. Somebody else might come by and water it, and the next person might add a little more soil so they can grow. Like, you don't have to see the process all the way through for everybody.
What you're talking about is a collective mindset where everybody does their part. Everybody focuses on their purpose and their ability as opposed to focusing on what somebody else should be doing. And we know that we do that very well here in America, don't we? It definitely gets a lot difficult.
I'm not writing with this joke. We're terrible at that.
We suck. We might be the worst country of all at doing that. And it shows, especially within our own community as black folks, because we can't hold spaces for people kind of like the celebrities we've been talking about, or even like an area like Houston. Like for them, you have people that are laying the breadcrumbs. We've named a handful of artists from out there just within the rap community that have done a whole lot better with themselves as far as financially and real estate wise, and people just, you don't follow suit. You just gonna continually doing the goofy shit. Like, you got somebody that's showing you something different. I don't know what it is. Well, I know a few different things. I was gonna say I don't know what it is that has black folks acting this way, but we know a lot of that is by design, and it's just been in play for so long. It's hard to decondition from these mindsets, but it's a lot. Because even like with you saying, like, it's hard for people to eat right and get their shit together and get in shape and stuff like that. I know that's hard in Houston because everybody goddamn eating, because everybody thinking in a cold bowl of grits.
Listen, no, that Tex-Mex, people come there skinny, leave looking bigger than the house. Ain't nobody have time.
But that's the funny part, because I know, especially in Houston and Dallas, within the black culture, you got like the really, I eat everything and I'm happy to be thick, but I'm really like a half a biscuit away from being super unhealthy and out of shape. And then you got the other side of like super gym culture of people lifting religiously and being in shape. It's like you have an idea, or you have a representation or a blueprint of what you can do to become better, but you're ignoring it because you want to stay in this mindset. So it's tricky. It's tricky.
I mean, like, definitely with the health shit, like you just said, like with, you know, because as a pro sick enthusiast, I know that we are like, you know, super big on what is considered, because, you know, skinny doesn't mean healthy,
right?
But like you said, like, what is a healthy body for your body type? Like, it's people who are just like, you know, I'm like this and this is what made. I'm like, nah, that's your choices. Like, you might not be ever made to be, I don't know, whatever a really small size is, but you also don't have to do that. Like,
right.
Even examining food, I'm not supporting anybody's vegan shit. Fucking y'all can keep that. That's not for me. But even having those conversations of, I like soul food as much as anybody else. I understand that it comes from bad backgrounds. I understand that I'm eating big fucking bowls of heart disease. But be moderate with it. Understand that, you know what, man, I'm a wild out for the family function. And then, like, during the week, when I'm just having a regular day, I'm probably going to eat some regular healthy shit because I have a fucking brain. And, you know, I might want to do some shit with my life before I die at 42. Right. So, you know, balance and thinking. But also that goes back to, like, conditioning and how you think and undoing processes, which is,
because part of being unhealthy within the black community comes from Southern culture, so it's harder for Southern people to break that habit. And I was laughing because you've just been traumatized by them vegan wings that we had. You just
man, look, that shit, like, and it was just because when you first bite into it, you're like, okay, and then the more you chew, you're like, this is not what I thought it was. This is now the opposite of what I thought it was.
Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck this is.
Some really pretty, some cool vegan wings.
No,
and they made yes, I did. They made the bone out of like sugar cane, which is kind of cool. But one thing about that whole thing is
you can't see his face right now.
It really was good.
He's not
buying it.
He's not having it, bro.
That's processed. Like, this is okay, even though it's not meat or it's vegan or what have you. Now this thing is going through a different type of process that can still affect me, people.
Right.
Like,
it's the same shit.
Yo.
You definitely have to, the expectation without a representation, the expectation that vegan automatically equals healthier when it's just as processed as everything else.
I feel like they're going to come up with something. You see those phones?
Club God, thank you for blessing us with this beat.
No, you can keep talking. Like, this the outro music. We
Yo, that phone that's on the wall, they're going to wrap that in foil and be like, this is healthy for you. You're a new foamist. Like, what's next?
It ain't none of this gonna look. The Texas has came out throwing ass in here, acting a fool. And of all things wonderful, shout out to Houston. Thank you for such pleasantries of like food.
You can't do that with vegan food.
You can't throw that ass in vegan food.
only pork chops.
Poke chop, P-O-K-E chop. Ain't a pork chop, it's a poke chop. Anyway, we appreciate you. Yeah, that's what I said. Texas, the home of the turkey legs. Thick Snickers out there. Goddamn. But thank you all for tuning in to Just a Dope Ass Podcast. We appreciate your support as always. This is King Carter, one half of Just a Dope Ass Podcast, aka Dark Gable. Bald Wisdom on location in Tejas, showing love, and Miss Carter, the other Carter here, well, showing love for Compton, Texas. We see you guys on Monday.